quarterback that I would consider for sure playing with, even though I know we've had our own feuding on
Oh
the
yeah,
field.
yeah, y'all lipped a little bit. Y'all lipped a little bit. I
Oh no,
mean,
we've lived quite a bit.
The Fred Minnick Show is brought to you by Michter's and 291 Colorado Whiskey.
so do you have all the goodies I sent you?
I do, and I appreciate that.
Are you good to sip today, or do you need a go work out or something like that?
No, I worked out this morning, so I can have a couple small sips, even though I'm trying to still maintain high performance.
Oh, of course, you got to keep the keep it all going, but a little whiskey every now and then ain't gonna hurt you. Yeah, at least I don't think, anyway.
No
But
question.
all right, so I sent you some really nice Barbados rum called the Gregarious Grump.
Okay.
I sent I sent you a vintage bottle right here. I mean, look at that bottle. I mean, isn't that something?
That's a
This is
beauty.
like this is how they used to bottle bourbon, a big old jug. That's a lot. That's awesome. So I sent you that. Sent you Spirits of French Lick, 4-grain bourbon. A barrel pick from Mesanos in Mississippi, and then a little 291, a full bottle of 291. And that was
Okay.
this. That was the second shipment that I sent you. There was also, if you see something else, is that what you got?
Yeah, that's what I've got. Yep.
All right. So let's start. Let's start with the 4-grain, the Lee Sinclair Spirits of French Lick. You see that one?
Spirits.
It might be called Lee Sinclair.
Yes, got it.
All right, we'll start with that one. So, tell me, what was it like winning the Super Bowl, man?
Man, the Super Bowl was great, to be honest with you. It's kind of one of those things you kind of get that monkey off your back, especially having gone to a Super Bowl earlier in my career in 2018, which was amazing. I loved the experience and had really no doubt that I was going to have the ability to win, but as a team, but it just for whatever reason didn't happen. So being able to get back there and knowing a lot of guys in this league haven't been successful. And I mean, you think about all those Buffalo teams that made it to the Super Bowl and never won. So
Yeah.
being able to get to my second one and take care of business was great, and then obviously create history as well.
And let's face it, the MVP went to Tom Brady, well deserved, but they could have given it to the whole defensive line too. You all owned that game.
Yeah, well, we know we what we did and how we took care of business, and what sells tickets is the quarterback in that offense, which is tremendous. And they put up a ton of points for us, but we know defense wins championships. So at the end of the day, we're definitely elated to where things ended, and that score speaks volumes. 31-9.
Mm-hmm.
That's a defensive performance that you would want to have any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, was there a particular play that stands out for you when you look back on it?
I mean, obviously the sacks that was able to be a part of and create definitely stand out. But I would say outside of those prominent ones, there was the ability to work out with Shaq Barrett early on in the game, and just talk about how we're going to affect the quarterback. And again, I've got a ton of praise for our defensive coordinator in the way he created that great game plan. And that's one of the great things we have about Coach Bowles is he's very creative and open-minded, and he created an amazing game plan that put the game on us up front, which I was super excited about because it was like, we're either going to win the game with you guys or we're going to lose the game with you guys. And so
Right.
he put that pressure on us, and really I don't look at it as pressure, it's expectations. And expectations each and every single week that we have to live up to.
And he Coach Bowles needed a that was cathartic for him too, I imagine, after coming off a head coaching gig, and kind of put him back in the center of like the mastermind he is behind defense. So that was there was a lot of, you called it a monkey off your back. There was a lot of monkeys off the back for you all in that Super Bowl win, and it was one of the most exciting games I've ever watched for a lot of reasons. And I gotta say, Patrick Mahomes, like the things that he was doing, I know you all even contained him, but the things that he was doing, like parallel to the ground, throwing sideways.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing you all have a good defensive line.
Yeah, no, he's a very talented young man, and he's going to be trouble for many years in this league for defensive lines and defenses as a whole. But one thing that I will say is I got a lot of respect for how he carried himself. A lot of teams could have truthfully crumbled a lot earlier and not had any fight, and so he definitely kept that team and that offense together for as long as he could until we kind of stifled him out as much as we could possibly.
Yeah. Well, let's taste some bourbon, because I know that's a big thing for you. You like bourbon. You own a piece of a bourbon company, St. Liberty's. So this is Lee Sinclair, 4 grain. This is a barrel pick from Masano's, a Masano. I think I'm saying that right. It's a store in Mississippi.
It hits the palate quite nicely. A little spice to it, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is spicy.
Yeah, no, that's almost 113 proof.
Yeah, that's packing some heat for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you drink anything special after the Super Bowl?
It's funny. Me and my wife were just talking about this the other day. We're putting our bar and wine cellar together at the house we just finished, and it was super interesting. I was so exhausted after that game, I didn't drink a thing.
Okay.
I came home and we sat on the couch for a little bit, ate, and then really just went to sleep. And luckily I did, because I had a bunch of interviews the next morning. But no, it was didn't drink anything, but really celebrated really the weeks after getting home and enjoying family and friends and kind of letting the surreal moment start to hit you. So
and it wasn't too long after that Tampa Bay sealed you up for another year. So I have to imagine that you got repeat almost immediately on the mind after a win like that.
No, it was great. I think we set the tone. Our ownership set the tone earlier on after our parade and said we want to bring everybody back, and that's our ultimate goal. And then, fortunate enough, they gave all the resources to do so, and then started to add really good quality pieces through the draft and some free agency pieces, which I'm excited to get to mini camp and be around the guys. So it's definitely an opportunity to go earn another one, which I think we have the talent to do that. It's about just bringing this team together again. Yeah,
well, and you got some rookies you got to break in too. So they, I'm sure you've got some good hazing coming up, but we've let's go to the 291 Colorado bourbon. Now this one's packing some heat. Now we're coming. This one's 100 proof. Sometimes 291 has like 120, 30 proof. They can get really high.
I was just gonna say this one that I've 130.8 proof.
You're 138 proof. All right, so I grabbed the wrong bottle to taste with you. Then mine's gonna be a little lighter. If you want, you can add some water to it.
No water for me. I'll be good.
So one of the things too that was very historic about the Super Bowl, and she's your coach. Lori Locust became basically the highest ranking female coach, and she wins a Super Bowl. How has she been put into the formula of working with a defensive line, because she's on interviews all the time and she never takes any credit for anything. She's always like passing it up to all the other coaches, and she just like just on camera, she seems like a very humble and great person.
No, Coach Lowe is amazing, and it's been a pleasure to work with her for 2 years, going on our third year now. And you're correct. She's in my direct room with the defensive line, so we get interface all the time. And the one thing that I love about her is that she's not afraid of anybody. So she gives me pointers all the time, takes care of the young guys, gets things going, and super attention to detail. So I think when it comes to our pass rushing and being successful as a defensive front, between her and Coach Casey, she does a lot of back end work for us to be able to find all of the nuances and details and stuff that we have going on. So it's been a pleasure to work with her, and I think she's an amazing coach, and will continue to rise up to the ranks within the sport. So I'm excited for her and ready to get back to doing some more work with her to go after another.
And it sounds like Tampa Bay is really pushing the needle and getting more women into coaching. They're having some conferences, and she's right there at the center of that. And that's in this day and age, I think that's to be commended.
Yeah, no question. And we've got MJ, who I work closely with alongside my other team. But MJ is one of our strength coaches in our strength and conditioning program, and she is great. She takes care of me each and every single day. And when I'm bright early mornings, she helps me set up stuff and coach me and give me pointers. So I think it's great to have that culmination in people that are great at their jobs, no matter what their sex is. And that's exactly how I look at things. And I think that's what the organization appreciates the most, especially having a great woman owner in Darcy. And so it's a great situation to be in, and I'm excited to be a part of that organization for a long period of time.
Well, I'll toast to that. So here we are with the 291.
Yeah.
This is out of Colorado, and I just interviewed Peyton Manning, and I told him that I had you on the show, and he says, I only have nice things to say about Mr. Suh. I don't want making him mad. So you're in Peyton Manning's headspace.
Man, Peyton's a great guy, and he's been a tremendous guy. I wish I could have been in the league a lot earlier to play against him a little bit more and in the AFC, but all good. We've actually crossed paths more so on the Pro Bowl side of things versus competing against each other in games. But no, great dude, and I know he's doing some amazing things off the field as well.
Well, he's gonna be sending you a bottle of bourbon. So
oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
he's got a bottle with your name on it. So hopefully that comes across to your desk soon. But
I will look forward to that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, when you get to talking to people about you, they're on the field everyone's scared to death of you, but off the field they love that in Ndamukong Suh. And I know your hometown of Portland just is really, you're doing a lot for the community right now, and I know you're kind of got your hands in like resurrecting a kind of like a fallen apartment building. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the Portland area.
Yeah, Portland is always going to be home base to me. Born and raised here, and a lot of my immediate family is still here as well. But it's a community that I care deeply about. In every place that I've been able to touch, been able to usually be a part of them, but always wanted to come back home and create something special here. So a partner of mine, Joel Anderson, have a development company together, and we like to find interesting and creative projects. But I think one of the most things that we need in this day and age is affordable housing. And one thing that I like, the twist that we've been able to work on around affordable housing is it's not so much the Section 8 and looking at it from that lens, it's looking at it from the lens of young professionals, whether you're a young African-American or Asian or Latino professional that wants to have a leg up. I think coming out of college, obviously those are the toughest days of our lives we've just put ourselves typically in a bunch of debt, and then now we're trying to get out of that debt and have a great job. And so it's now affording them an opportunity to live in the urban core near their jobs and in a great place where they can all collaborate together as young professionals, and then they'd be able to be close to their working opportunities and abilities to progress and move forward and get that American dream of having their white picket fence one day.
Sure. And this is a time too of great like discourse in our country in a lot of areas, and Portland and in my town Louisville, there's been two of the ones where we've seen a lot of
Unrest. There's
a
been
lot of
of
unrest. Yeah. And to have someone like you to kind of anchor leadership is a big deal.
And I would also say when it comes to real estate and you see a lot of this unrest and there's obviously destruction that goes with it, unfortunately, which I don't condone. And even though I like destruction on the football field and messing up offenses, definitely don't condone it off the field. But when people start to own and care about the things that are theirs, so we have this opportunity where it's an alt cap system where it's ultimate altruism in this world, but at the same time, capitalism is one of the main things in America. You kind of bring those together and give these opportunities for these young professionals and people, investors, people in the community. They have an opportunity to own part of these buildings. Then they say, I have now a sense of ownership, even though it may be a small piece, but I'm going to pay attention to this building in this area that much more because it's mine. I would be going and destroying my own stuff, and people typically don't go and destroy their own stuff. So just kind of creating a different concept and one that hopefully gets spread across the country.
Well, and private property is in large part what this country was, built on. I mean, it was the American dream was to own a home,
Yep.
and so we've kind of moved away from that a little bit. Now we have developments where the developers get sell off little pockets and rent them back to people. So it's a very different world now. So
Yeah. And I think there's nothing wrong with that and being able, because we still want people to be able to find ways to make livings and grow and develop and do different things like that. But as long as you're bringing people alongside yourself, and I think that's the best thing about myself and Joel's development company is that we have the ability to have day jobs, work, and think about things a little bit differently. It's not saying there's nothing wrong with the traditional developer, but they're also needing to make a living and make sure they're taking care of their family. We can look at things a little bit differently being in a different space to be able to help people and bring them along and make special projects. And I think as people start to get to that mindset, and these things are going to definitely make money, but at the same time, you're passing that wealth and creating generational wealth for other folks as well.
Right on. Well, I want to now take you to, since we're kind of talking about, we talked a little bit about the old United States. This is coming straight out of the 60s. So this is an old vintage bottle here, the Chapin and Gore or C&G. This is gonna be very, very different than what we just tasted. What did you think of the 291?
291 was definitely powerful. Beautiful bottle. Little, not as spicy, but it's got some heat at the end, which I like. And then we're looking at this Chapin and Gore. It looks to be a little bit lighter, 93 proof.
Yeah. So this is going to be lighter, but still, and it's it is not. They don't have the age on here, but I suspect it's probably 6 to 8 years old. That's kind of how they did things back then. Most things were between 6 and 8, and I'd suspect that this is going to be packing some flavor.
Yes.
But think about football back in the 60s. Very, you could poke a guy in the eye and smoke a cigarette on the sideline.
Yeah, and the locker room was full of cigarette smoke for sure.
Bourbon is. I imagine they had a bottle of bourbon in there every now and then.
No, definitely celebrating with some bourbon or some whiskey, something of that nature.
Absolutely.
This is definitely nice. This is real smooth.
Wow. Yeah, that's purty. That is definitely purty. So what do you do in the in the off season? Do you keep up with all of the free agency moves and everything that's going on? All the drama in the NFL?
It's a little hard not to see some of it. I wouldn't say I'm fully in tune, but obviously via social media and all these alerts and breaking news items,
Yeah.
definitely see quite a bit of it. More in tune to what's happening with my team, primarily or close friends. I saw that one of my good friends just took a visit out to Detroit, Todd Gurley. So we'll see if he goes to an amazing city that I love. If he does, I'll make sure he's well taken care of because I actually got one of my other teammates from LA and Jared Goff, who just got traded there
Yeah.
a bit ago. So
I think
interesting.
I think Goff is going to do great in Detroit.
No, I think he will as well. He's got a great head coach. I actually had his head coach down in Miami for as an interim for a little bit in 2015. That would have been it'll be interesting. Hopefully, that team can start to bounce back, and maybe we'll see them in the playoffs. I don't think we have them on the schedule, although I'd love to play against Goff.
You'd like to get because you couldn't really tackle him in practice, right? So he had like the protective jersey on, so
Exactly. He's gotten the best of me this last season when he was in LA. They beat us at home, and the previous year we beat them at their home. So we'll see how things kind of come together. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that team turns out. I know they've got a little bit of rebuilding to take care of, but it'll be good.
Is the whole players association just sitting on the couch with a bag of potato chips, watching this Aaron Rodgers deal unfold?
This is interesting. I mean, I would love to understand some of these details of what all is transpiring there. It's quite interesting to see some of the moves that they've made. Obviously, they got the quarterback in love in the previous draft, and there's nothing wrong with preparing for the future. But I heard that he has no more guaranteed money on his deal, and they're looking to restructure and do some different things for him to stay. But it seems like it's a little bit of a fractured relationship, but hard to see from the outside.
Yeah, I think there may need to be some counseling with the fans and Aaron Rodgers and the team moving forward because it's definitely splintered. But
Yeah, get some charcuterie boards and some cheese and have a nice little sit down with some bourbon.
and here's the thing, man. I'm like, I look at it as like if that guy is my quarterback and he wants a Ferrari, I'm going to buying a Ferrari. Whatever that guy wants, because they don't come off the tree like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. You get that guy and you keep him.
No, there's no doubt about that. Ton of respect for him, and I think he's been able to do a lot of successful things in his career, let alone in the last decade of being successful. So a quarterback that I would consider for sure playing with, even though I know we've had our own feuding on
Oh
the
yeah,
field.
yeah, y'all lipped a little bit. Y'all lipped a little bit. I
Oh no,
mean,
we've lived quite a bit. All in good fun on the football
I
field.
mean, I believe there are many. As I'm going to the Gregarious Grump rum here, the Barbados rum, I believe there have been many memes and like fun tagline things of you two kind of jawing at each other, which that's just good TV right there.
Yeah, no, we should create a show together or something like that, and have teams compete for each other.
Oh,
For,
that'd be awesome. A Rogers and Sue show, that'd be great.
yeah.
But of course you've got the greatest you got the goat. You got Tom Brady as your guy, and when we talked last year, you were excited about it and everything, and you were like, you couldn't wait for it. Um, but it was mesmerizing to see the 2020 season unfold with Tom Brady behind center. What was last year like? I mean, let's just beyond the Super Bowl, but what was it like going through COVID, playing with Tom Brady for the first time?
Man, COVID was definitely difficult, and I know it was a lot worse for everyday American people, and let alone people around the world. So definitely don't take anything for granted. But I mean, doing nasal swabs and testing every single day, and then getting into the facility masked up and walking across and having to be spatially aware of everybody around you was definitely a challenge. And I really felt more so for the young guys because they didn't get to have any OTA, to know nothing, straight into camp. And it's all about really kind of getting the veterans in order and then bringing them along at the same time. So overall, the season was, there were some ups and downs. We had a little bit of lull, not being successful through the midseason, and really at the very beginning losing our first game against the Saints. But nonetheless, we knew we had all the talent to be successful. So it was just a matter of time of one, we put ourselves in these positions, but we're talented enough to get ourselves out of them. And it's a matter about everybody kind of putting their egos aside, understanding what they need to do, what your role is, execute your role, and this will all start rolling uphill and rolling real fast. And that's really kind of where we got to, and hit that stride right as it was the right time into the fourth quarter of the season and into the playoffs. And that was fun. I mean, to be able to see all the young guys start to turn and realize that, yeah, I'm just going to do what I need to do to be successful. Let the, for lack of better words, the big dogs make the big plays, and then I can have also take my shots and be successful. And then obviously that offense was amazing throughout that time, and it was just a matter of time before the defense took over and late in the playoffs against elite quarterbacks. I mean, you went from the Saints and Drew Brees, and then you got to go up to Green Bay where it's freezing cold and shut down Aaron Rodgers in that offense, and then come back home and create some history against Kansas City and be the first team to ever win their Super Bowl in their home stadium was a great way to cap it off.
And the quarterback that came closest to beating you was Tyler Heinicke of
Yeah.
Washington, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but no, it was Washington was a very very interesting game. Obviously, we were preparing and I was actually on the bus heading to the game and found out that he was going to be the starting quarterback, and we had to kind of switch up our game plan. So throughout the warm ups and preparing for the game, you got to be able to understand how to pivot, which is what everything in COVID was about: pivoting and finding a way to be successful.
So so that really does have an impact on the game. Is if you don't know the quarterback you're playing and they switch it kind of last minute. I mean that can I mean, as a fan, like not being a layman to football, it can have that big of an impact.
Yeah, without question, it can definitely have an impact just because you've been preparing all week for this style of quarterback, knowing these different pieces, looking at their snap counts, all these different items that go into studying, and then all of a sudden that you get thrown a curveball, uh, a way more athletic guy or a young guy that is really kind of off kilter with how they produce and move and run an offense. It's just it's a little bit of it's a hair or two slower of what you need to expect, and how you can anticipate things. And so, kind of going through that process live in the game versus being somewhat prepared for it 2 or 3 days before the game. And granted, we understand who the backups are and we study those different things, but in all actuality, we're really looking at the projected starters and the guys that we go into. That's why we have these injury reports throughout the week that are important that we look at. So, same thing with an offensive lineman. Granted, it's their job to block us as defensive linemen, but you still want to know what's going to be the offensive lineman so you can go in there and have a plan prepared.
So if you had a week or two to prepare for Tyler Heinicke, he doesn't do as well as what I'm hearing a little bit.
I would beg to say that we would be it'd be very difficult for him to have a successful game against us if we've got a week or two. Especially, I mean, we had a week or two going into the Super Bowl to prepare for Mahomes. Look how that one turned out for him.
Well, on that note, did you taste the rum?
I did. That is
12 years. Whew,
quite nice.
that's yummy.
12 years, 128 proof. This time around have been some heavy proofs.
I'm sending you the equivalent of the Tampa Bay defensive line, high proof, and
Nothing but
right
fire.
nothing but fire. But well, Dominic, it was really great chatting with you, and I'm excited for your team next year, and excited to see what you continue to do for Portland. And so I'll say best of luck, and just keep on keeping on, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and I've sipped some great whiskey, bourbon, or even throwing some rum in there. Maybe one of these days we'll do some tequila.
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I'll bring some tequila next time, and I got to come see a game. I got to come see you this year. I'll be in Tampa Bay for an event here and there, and I'd love to see you crush an offensive line in person because it's
No
so much
question.
fun to watch.
We will make sure we take good care of you when you come out. So just let me know.
Right on. Well, be safe out there, and great hanging out one more time. Cheers,
Of
my
course.
friend.
Good to see you.